I'm sorry about what happened in court earlier today. Everyone will be talking about me behind my back now. Dirty old man who was so busy looking at the serving girl's backside, they can't remember her face, a filthy, depraved animal. Not at all. Are you listening to me, boy? I don't care what you say. I saw that waitress put it in. She put some white powder in the young lad's Javachino. We hear you. And another thing, the young layabout was wearing an earpiece, on the same size as the lens of his broken spectacles. Really sorry. I made a little mistake about the vase, so what? I know what I saw, I tell you. Okay, take it easy, please, Mr. Kudo. Don't tell me to take it easy, you spiky-haired brat. Take this. You said you were a craftsman, right? Modern world casts honest craftsmen like me aside in droves. Surely it's not that. I come from a long line of craftsmen, right back to the time of the Shoguns. Do you hear me? I didn't become an embroiderer, I was born one. Actually, I'm kind of in the same situation myself. I wanted to stick my fingers up that dribbling old judge's nose and scream right down his earhole, objection. Oh, so did you want to become a lawyer when you were young? I don't think that's quite it, Maya. I think he's just in a bad mood, that's all. I got a tsunami of frustration inside that's ready to burst out. If we let him start rambling now, we might never shut him up. What should I do? Guess I better let him talk. So there's not much call for craftsmen these days, huh? Of course not, you idiot. All I'm good for nowadays is running errands. Errands? Everyone takes advantage of the elderly. Buy some breadcrumbs, take the dog for a walk, Granddad. Feed the pigeons, old man. What am I, some sort of 2-bit community lay handyman? Well, buy some bread. Now that I can understand. What's the point of feeding some seedy pigeons? Why don't people say that what they mean, get lost? That's what they're trying to say. Oh yes, I'm just an inconvenience, you see. At home, at that restaurant, I just get in the way, don't I? Sure you don't. Wait a minute, what did he just say? At home and at the restaurant? Hold up. By restaurant, are you talking about Trebien? Did you get asked to run an errand there too? Yes, it did. The very day that young brat was poisoned. What? On the day of the incident, what were you asked to do? Glad you asked, boy, because I'll tell you what I was asked to do. All of a sudden, that young lad slipped over the table. Serving girl collapsed. I broke that vase. It all happened so fast I was in a bit of a daze, you see. Then the owner shouted over to me. Excusez-moi, you call the police. Call them yourself, I should have said back, but I didn't think of it at the time. So did you end up calling the police? Like I said, I was in a bit of a daze. Did you call them on your cell phone? Do I look like I'd have one of those newfangled thingamajigs? Went out looking for a payphone, of course. You went looking for one? Couldn't find one right away, you know. Wandered around for 5 minutes or so. 5 minutes? So for 5 minutes after the incident happened, yes sirree, the owner was at the Trebien on his own. Why didn't you mention this in court this morning? Well, I would have if you'd given me the chance. But you all bullied me out of the courtroom. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. You certainly earned your kudos for today. Wait a minute. If that's the case, there's more. I've got more to say. Oh yes, I remember something else. Bailiff, escort the witness out of the courtroom. It's not my fault. You're the ones to blame. Could have at least told us before we got to court. Is it really that important that Mr. Kudo was the one who called the police? Important is the unaccounted time before the police arrived. The victim was dead, and Maggie was unconscious. Which leaves that woman, that man, alone in the restaurant. Mr. Kudo might have been chased out of the place on purpose. What do you mean? Maybe a certain someone didn't want him in the restaurant. Oh sure, you go ahead and say I was in the way as usual. I suppose I should have been getting myself covered in pigeon poop instead, Need to get more details about what exactly happened. From Maggie and from Mr. Armstrong. Well, Mr. Wright. Hello, Maggie. So they finished questioning you? Wasn't it just unbelievable in court today, sir? Gotta stay up all night and blog about everything that happened. Excuse me. Weren't you scared? It was pretty touch and go in there. Yeah, but you totally nailed that old man. Well, he's all over the place with his testimony. He's not the only one. Huh? What do you mean? Everyone else's testimonies don't match up either. Not with what I remember of the incident anyway. It's possible she's the only one... She is the one misremembering things? Oh, wait, no. Oh yeah, I've got something you're going to love. Really? What is it? A lunchbox, just for you. Here. Wow, lunchbox. Weenies, too. Can't believe it. Thank you, sir. Did you make this just for me, Mr. Wright? Nah, it was Detective Gumshoe. Detective Gumshoe? He's really worried about you. Looks like he put a lot of effort into making this, too. Can't accept it. Detention center rules. No gifts allowed, sir. Hey, come on, Maggie. Don't be like that. Rules are the rules. They'll lock you up if you break them. Somehow, when an ex-cop turned waitress says that, it seems a whole lot scarier. And anyway, I hate weenies. Oh, really? It's all yours, Maya. You can enjoy it with Mr. Wright. But... Right. It's better than letting it go to waste. But, I guess so. We literally just sat there and ate in front of her. Remember she said she hates him and she doesn't want to see him again? Yep. Well, how was it? That hit the spot. I love weenies. Oh, good. I'm glad I gave it to you then, sir.
Evidence for this one.
What?
A lot of stuff for this one.
Yeah. I feel much better after the trial this morning. I've been a bit of a courtroom proceedings addict for years now. Feels like forever since I saw a witness as slippery as that old man. He's not really that bad of an old man, though. Still, I feel a bit uneasy. Huh? Thought you just said you felt much better. Maggie, if there's something on your mind, you gotta tell us. Especially if it has anything to do with Mr. Kudo or his testimony. Roger, I'll spill it all and see what you make of it. Maggie, you know how you said that everyone else provided testimony that doesn't match up with what you remember? Yep, there are just so many things that don't seem to add up. Biggest contradiction is the other guy I saw at the victim's table. He was the one who slipped something into the victim's coffee. I'm sure it was him. Didn't Mr. Kudo testify earlier today that it was a waitress who put some white powder into the coffee cup? That looks like the woman with the head injury. So you really think it was this disappearing man that did it? Well, he's not the only thing that disappeared. The CD vanished as well. You know, the CD with the writing on it. Oh yeah, the MC Screwdriver album, right? It was MC Bomber, Maya. That name was scrawled on the sports paper as well. Never did find that CD at the crime scene, sir. Or the victim's medication. That's gone missing too. Ouch, my head. This is getting way too complicated for me. I used to be on the police force, but I'm incarcerated now. I don't pick up much information in here. All I can help you out with is the menu at Très Bien. Hey, come on, Maggie. Don't let your spirits fall. Oh, sorry. Said you passed out when the victim, Glenn L., collapsed, right? Yes, it's so embarrassing. I mean, I used to be a cop. When I came to, the restaurant was buzzing with police. Before I knew what was going on, they arrested me, sir. But between the time the victim collapsed and the time the police arrived on the scene, you have no idea what went on at Très Bien. No idea at all. Why, is it important, Mr. Wright? The other witness, the old man from the park, was pretty much chased out of the picture. Chased out of the picture? What do you mean? Old CD wasn't inside the restaurant because he was told to go call the police. Exactly, and you, Maggie, were unconscious. That means Mr. Armstrong was alone in the restaurant for a brief period of time. No, you don't think Mr. Armstrong set me up, do you? You consider the facts, it's hard to imagine that Mr. Armstrong isn't involved in this at all. It's like the master biting the paw of the dog that it feeds. Are you sure about this, Mr. Wright? Well, the old man said as much when we spoke with him earlier. I don't know, the things that man says don't add up for some reason, sir. Maggie looks like she's trying to figure something out. Maybe we should ask Maggie exactly what she knows about old CD. Is there anything about Mr. Kudo's testimony that stood out to you as odd? Actually, yes. The fact that he was even testifying to begin with doesn't quite... Wait, what? Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table... It's true there was another customer in the restaurant. Yeah, we know that already. It was Victor Kudo. but I can't really say it was an old man. Okay, then how about calling him a really old middle-aged man? No, age isn't the issue. The other customer was a woman. A woman? Are you sure, Maggie? Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. So what did this woman look like? She was sort of creepy. And she had a kind of cackling laugh. Creepy? Cackling? Why do I get the feeling I've come across a woman like that recently? Main server just went up in smoke. Why the heck isn't the press conference set up yet? The superintendent's here already. Yeah, and there's a problem with the internet too. I already told you to stop using your computer, Chief. I'm watching videos online. I'm catching up on my Asian soap operas. It's gonna have to wait, Chief. I'm throwing the switch. No! Just when son... whatever. Was about to confess to his son's girlfriend. Wow, this place is really buzzing. Something must be going down. Something really big. Huh? What are you doing here, pal? Detective Gumshoe. Can't be here right now. You'll be roped into briefing if you stay. Huh? We've got big problems here today. Why? What's going on? It's a virus. A virus. A virus? There's a virus ripping through the precinct's computer system. But I really need to ask you some questions. Detective Gumshoe, about this. What? Trying to concentrate on Maggie and... Ah! This is it! This stupid name! I remember now. Thought so, here it comes. But just nod to yourself and keep me in the dark, Nick. What's going on? It's okay, Maya. You don't have to cry about it. Name scribbled on that sports paper and written on that CD. That's the name of the virus, MC Bomber. What? Yeah, a virus that's just infected every computer in the station, pal. It's MC Bomber. Can you give us more details, please? Oh, hold on. That's the girl who works... Yeah, that's the girl who works over at Tender Lender. You want to stay away from her, okay? I mean it. She does look kind of unforgiving, doesn't she? Should be the least of your worries, pal. What's that supposed to mean? What could be worse? Her name's Viola Cadaverini. The only granddaughter of Bruto Cadaverini. Bruto Cadaverini? You know who that is, Nick? Never heard of him. He's the boss of the Cadaverini family. The Cadaverinis, that's one scary sounding name. Can't touch them, they're way too powerful for the police. But you're thinking of taking them on, aren't you? No, I don't remember ever saying I was going to. Better get some more info of Gumshoe about this family. Not sure if I really want to get involved in this, but who are the Cadaverinis? Who are they? Scary bunch of people, that's who. You're a cop and you're scared? What's that about? Trust me, it doesn't matter if you're a kid or a cop, these guys are scary. Got some serious clout in the criminal underworld. Can't touch them, they've got too much moolah. Moolah, as in, they pretty much control all the cash in the city's black market. Black market, huh? That includes Tender Lender, I take it? Sure, no one stands up to Bruto Cadaverini, and I mean no one. Interesting. So Viola's a granddaughter of some mafia boss then. Yeah, and everyone knows how much Bruto loves his little girl. Means everything to him. So, how did she end up at Tender Lender? I don't know, pal. But I heard she and the boss at Tender Lender are pretty tight. Tight? That's what I said. That's what it said in a file I read related to Maggie's case. Sounds like a pretty important clue. What exactly is a computer virus, Detective Gumshoe? I don't know. What? Look, I just go with the flow, alright, pal? Here, I thought detectives were supposed to be somewhat knowledgeable. What's with that face, pal? You think you know what a virus is? Well, Nick, do you? Computer virus? Sure, I mean only in simple terms, of course. Really? Wow, you know everything, Professor Nick. Yeah, I'm gonna call you Dr. Wright from now on. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool, don't you agree, Dr. Wright? Why do I get the feeling you're making fun of me? Okay, fine, I'm no expert, but I can at least explain the basics to the two of you. Virus is a program that gets inside a computer and causes damage. Damage? You mean it makes a machine go boom and explode? No, the damage is, well, it's all internal. So the inside goes boom, right? Imagine all the case data you've got stored on your PCs here in the station. Virus could wipe out all of that. That's the kind of damage I'm talking about. Whoa, that's scary. Yeah, what's even more scary is that the viruses are infectious. Infectious? Most computers are connected together on a network, right? Virus can move from one machine to another over the network. So a virus just keeps spreading faster and faster. Just like a real virus, But Nick, why would anyone want to make a program like that? Yeah, it takes ages to type in all that data. Why would you want to destroy it, pal? No, people don't infect their own machines. They send the virus to someone else's. What? That's horrible. Oh, I get it. It's like you sneezing on Mr. Godot so he catches a cold. Right, then he wouldn't be able to turn up in court because he'd be too sick. Really shouldn't do stuff like that. Nick gets wrong. Who? What? Where? When and why did the conversation jump to talking about me? Anyway, that's what a computer virus is. A bad program that causes damage. And all the different viruses have names, right? I kind of feel like I've heard the name of the virus we caught somewhere before. Name of the virus, huh? I feel like I've heard it before, too. We already knew about the MC Bomber virus from a while back. A group of criminals issued a series of demands to the head honchos of law enforcement. They threatened to release the virus if their demands weren't met. Who are they? I don't know. Some hotshots from the criminal underworld would be my guess. Now the virus has been released, huh? Yeah. It's in every computer in every public office in the city. Everyone's going nuts. They're hopping around like they're dancing at a carnival. All this stuff with criminals and viruses. It almost feels like we're in a sci-fi movie. Apparently the programmer who made the virus was a real genius or something. Focus right now is tracing the route of this virus on the black market. You mean someone put this virus up for sale? Yeah, because this one's so powerful, they're estimating its price tag was in the millions of dollars, pal. In the millions? A virus can't be worth that much? Arrgh, I can't believe it. I almost forgot the most important thing. And that is, you know, the lunchbox. How did everything go? Lunchbox? You remember. The weenies? I hate weenies. Oh yeah, those weenies. So, how did my weenies taste when they went down the hatch? Huh? Well, it was delicious. Yeah? That's what she said, really? Well, not exactly. Don't worry about it, pal. I figured something would happen, so I came prepared. Prepared? What do you mean? Made a jumbo lunchbox. Oh, do me a favor again, huh, pal? Deliver this? This sure is a heavy burden, in more ways than one. You can just imagine Maggie's little eyes sparkling with joy when you bring her that. Weenies again, Nick? Tell me we don't have to eat all these, too.
Oh boy.
Really can't eat anymore. So how about you tell me what kind of trouble Mr. Elg was in? Sorry, sir, but we don't deal with troubleshooting here. Perhaps you'd like to speak to someone in customer service. What's she talking about? Guess I'd better just take a shot and see where it gets me. Miss Basil, let me ask you something. Did Mr. Elg's trouble have something to do with this? No. What is that? Lottery ticket. There were a ton of these on the victim's table at the scene of the crime. What's the relevance of that? Victim, Mr. Glenn Elg, had a gambling habit, didn't he? I don't think that's a logical conclusion based on the facts. Everyone dreams of being rich. Even I listen to Millionaire Radio. She's right, that is a bit weak on its own. But Mr. Elg's gambling wasn't restricted to the lottery, was it? Lottery, horse racing, he bought a lot of tickets and lost a lot of times. That's gotta have hurt his wallet pretty bad, don't you think? Maybe bad enough to be the cause of some pretty serious trouble, perhaps. No. You're right, Glenn did have a gambling habit. You good people must not follow his example, do you understand? Trust me, even if I want to, I don't exactly have the money to buy any. But if you win, there's no problem, is there? Glenn had a winning ticket, didn't he? For $500,000? Yeah, but it's hard to imagine how he could have been in trouble then, isn't it? True that Mr. Elg won $500,000 in the end, but that was his first stroke of good luck. He was in deep trouble before that. Deep trouble? What do you mean? Mr. Elg's real problem was with someone or something more terrifying and ferocious. Furio Tigre. Boss of a loan office called Tender Lender. Tender Lender? People with businesses should think harder before naming their offices. Like you're one to talk. Well, what do you think? Firm is doing very well at the moment. I don't think we need to borrow money. No. I mean Mr. Elg. Think Glenn had something to do with this Furio Tigre? Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know of any connection between the two of them. Really? Because I've got the proof that Mr. Elg and the tiger knew each other. Oh, dang it. Blah, blah, blah. Hit the wrong button. What was it? His calendar. Furio Tigre, aka the Tiger, is the boss of a loan office called Tender Lender. This is who Mr. Elg met with on the day of his murder. The only thing a loan shark would talk with him about would be his debt. No! True that Glenn had racked up quite a bit of debt from his gambling habit. About $100,000, I think. Ouch. Well, I heard he won the lottery, so he should have been in the clear. Shame Maggie couldn't get a bit of good luck. Okay, so the guy got lucky and won the lottery.
He won the day he died, so
Yeah.
he wouldn't have even had the money yet.
What if he hadn't won? What was his plan then? Well, this isn't easy to say, but he said he would use his talents to repay the money. His talents? I suspect he was talking about programming. What computer program is worth $100,000? Perhaps you good people should leave so I can get back to my work. So close to cracking her. The program in question, was it this by any chance? Well, this is it, isn't it? This is the virus that's infecting computers worldwide as we speak. MC Bomber. No! Glenn's head had more processing power than any computer, but it had been infected with a gambling virus. Glenn was in too deep. You mean he was in debt? Yes, $100,000 in debt, not an easy amount to repay. So, he said he was taking on some extra work, something a bit risky. Risky? How? Maybe he's going to become a waitress at Trabian? Where did you come up with these ideas? So it's safe to say Mr. Elg was the creator of this virus, huh? The MC Bomber virus? Yes. The work of genius, in a bad sort of way, of course, but still genius. Something like that would probably fetch several $1 million on the black market. Inconceivable. Gumshoe was right for a change. This date, December 3rd, that is marked on his calendar. That was his deadline for repaying his debts. Guess we won't be needing these horse racing tickets anymore. Use a trash can, Nick.
She's creepy.
Said that bandage around your head was from an operation? You also said you suffered a fatal injury to the head, correct? Yes, the operation was very difficult, apparently. Now, by fatal injury, you mean you were hurt very badly somehow, right? Hey, did the injury in question have something to do with this? Well, donuts? Huh? I baked them myself, homemade donuts. Have one. What's inside? Jam and... I'm sorry, but I didn't quite catch that. Hehe. Thanks, but no thanks. I think I'll pass. Happened to this one to have... Must be some piece of evidence that'll prompt her to tell me what happened. See? Sorry, I wanted that achievement.
No, fair.
There it is. I have here a car repair bill. From this, it seems pretty obvious that this car was involved in an accident. Let me see that. This bill is made out to the Cadaverinis? Yes, it is. I don't think I ever introduced myself. Tell me, what do the Cadaverinis have to do with me? Something tells me she's not about to say hi and introduce herself. Alright then. Relationship with the Cadaverinis is very strong, and this is why.
Because you are one?
I know exactly who you are, Viola Cadaverini. You sustained that injury in a traffic accident, didn't you? Happened about 4 months ago. I was driving in one of our family's cars when someone pulled out in front of me. It was a motorbike or something like that. I don't remember it much. Anyway, I swerved to try to avoid it, but I took a blow to the head, a bad one. Yeah, I can imagine. What happened to the person on the bike? I'm guessing they didn't get away with injuring the Viola Cadaverini, huh? I don't know what happened to them. They ran away, or so I heard. Ran away? If they'd stayed, I'd have... Hee. Is it possible? Could the person who committed the hit and run have been...
It was him and she doesn't know.
It was this man, wasn't it? He was the cause of your accident. It wasn't Don Tigre. I refuse to believe it. Collided the motorbike in my car, but Don Tigre wasn't injured at all, is he? It's the tiger who caused Viola to crash. I can feel it. Plus, one of her locks just broke, so she must suspect it was him, too. Sorry, Miss Cadaverini. I had the proof that the tiger was involved in a traffic accident on his bike.
Like, it's all kinds of messed up.
Oh, not there. There it is. Not exactly a motorbike, but Mr. Tigre rides around on a scooter, doesn't he? And you'll notice that the front wheel guard is badly damaged. I think there's a lot more than just the front wheel guard. Miss Cadaverini, you know the truth, don't you? The repair bill was paid by Furio Tigre. The Cadaverinis have known for ages who caused the accident, haven't they? Possible, perhaps. Somewhere inside me, I know that may be true. I knew it. But Don Tigre still saved my life. The operation was very complicated. It was very, very expensive. How much are we talking? Very, very, very expensive. She seems kind of hesitant about giving me an actual figure. I should back off. Well, anyway, it was the tiger who paid for it, right? After I recovered, Don Tigre told me. Said he paid for the operation because he cared about me. I believe him. Really? But do you honestly believe that to be true? Do you want to know what I think? I think the reason he paid for the operation wasn't because of you, but because of someone else. Perhaps I shouldn't be saying this, but your grandfather, Bruto Cadaverini, controls a lot of dubious cash, right? You are his beloved pride and joy. Sure, I don't know exactly how much the operation cost, but if you weren't the granddaughter of Mr. Cadaverini, do you think Mr. Tigre would have paid the money? $1 million. 4 months ago, I was in a traffic accident. That's why I needed the operation. When I woke up, they told me it was nothing serious, a simple procedure. Oh, really? Well, I guess if she recovered in 4 months, it couldn't have been too big. They said the operation cost $1 million. $1 million bucks? Grandfather ordered Don Tigre to pay $1 million in compensation. Compensation, huh? It's underworld lingo for paying money to settle a score. Basically, pay or get into some serious trouble. But $1 million bucks? It has to be related to our poisoning case somehow. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust what Don Tigre said. He said it had nothing to do with my grandfather being Bruto Cadaverini. I wanted to believe he helped me because he cared about me, not about my grandfather. But I knew that wasn't really true. Wow, I'm so sorry. What he did to get the money was evil. He said it was all for me, so I helped him. You helped him? In what way? Here, take these. What are these, medical papers? I'm Bruto Cadaverini's granddaughter. He had to pay compensation. He was made an offer. He simply couldn't refuse. Those medical papers. $1 million bill for cranial surgery. Payment was due last year.
Well, depending on what month you're in.
True. Oh, yeah, because this happened in December, true. Well, I feel so bad for Viola. It's inexcusable. Huh? There are two things that I consider inexcusable. Poisoning and betrayal. Only a coward would hurt people using either of these tactics. Is everything alright, Nick? We should get going. Right after we finish our espresso. Yeah, I don't need to convince Viola of anything else, so I guess I can get rid of this. Yeah, January 7th, okay. Hey, bonjour, I've been waiting for you to return. Mr. Armstrong. Ah, good timing, I was hoping to find you here. We'd like to ask you a few questions. Well, he hasn't got anything to say to you fellas. Ah, it's Ziniof. Who are you calling Zinioop? Ah! Come out from under the table already, Maya. Okay, hand it over. What? Want to play games with me? I don't recommend that. Medical papers, now. Uh-oh. I think he wants Viola Cadaverini's papers back. You mean this? The $1 million medical papers? Miss Cadaverina trusted you. That's why she said That's why she said that she helped you. Forget about it. That girl's dumber than an eggplant. You want to know what's really sad? I'll tell you what's sad, and it ain't only her face. She thinks she's got power because she's Bruto's little girl. Now that's sad. Can't let you have these papers. Tomorrow in court, I'm going to expose what you did to get the $1 million you used to pay this off. Are you crazy or something? I don't care if you want to give it to me or not. There's two of us here. You got that too? Oui. Mr. Armstrong, forgive me. Désolé, I cannot argue with him. Oh, that really hurt. Is that all he's got? I'll be taking those papers now. Armstrong, get that lighter. Wait, don't take it too hard, Phoenix, right? So stupid. I shouldn't have let my guard down. Medical papers were vital evidence. Hold it, pal. Detective Gumshoe?
Gumshoe to the rescue.
You think you're gonna stop me, copper? Beat it. Gwar. Whoa. Come on, Gumshoe. Keep it together. You guys, get out of here. Leave this guy to me. But go, pal, and take this. If you get hurt, who's gonna look after Maggie, huh? Alright. Thanks, McGumshoe. Wait, Nick, don't leave me behind! She finally got out from underneath the table, I guess.
Yeah.
Get even with that guy tomorrow in court. Tender lender is going down.
Good.
Alright. January 8th. Morning, Mr. Wright. Morning, Maggie. What do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended in a giant mystery. That's true. We still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt, that was, determination. Why didn't I believe you? Nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How'd you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. Look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy, too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is a small bottle that turned up in Trabian's kitchen a couple days ago. Wow, look at all these little bottles. Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many, they're flowing out of the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. Well, what do you know? It doesn't have a label either. And doesn't smell. Finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently.
Oh, what's the...
So he got slippery, sticky fingers and stole his medication. For ears, you mean? Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Alec was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Alec's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? And what about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour, they might have gotten something on the prints, but... that's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today, got it? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Very good, then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. Claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder in the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was also listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. Amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Ah! Let me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. Lost me already, Mr. Godot. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. Gotta change with the times, that's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answer to these riddles? The old guy wasn't just throwing seeds in here, he was throwing us off the scent. Today I'll prove it. Very well, let the first witness take the stand. And you are... Oh, bonjour, everyone. I'm Gene Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Très Bien Restaurant Enchanté. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Ooh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I'm a pert and perky gentleman, no? On the day of the incident, you were in Très Bien's kitchen. Isn't that right? Was you, monsieur? Everything feels right. Ha! Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well, your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Très Bien. Oui. Volunteers. Volunteers. Whatever, I don't know. When it all happens, there was 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decos that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Perhaps that is what old man was looking at. A couple of earpiece and the glasses, he would have seen everything in reverse, no? Mirror? Oui, un grand mirror. The most enormous mirror. And suddenly the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. Mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. And who were the 2 customers exactly? Of course, the young man who died, and the other, not-so-young man. You are referring to yesterday's witness, I presume. What about the other man Maggie said she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence. We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we? Guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. You're experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today? You're not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur? Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before? But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of deco...
Decouture.
Is that how this... Decouture? Whatever. Deco. No. Art Deco is a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior designs, walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing. Ah, yes, of course. That deco. I was trying to achieve a effeminate look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of the decor. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Buff. Something about 4 meters wide and they're, about 2 meters high. Let's see, if 1 meter is about 1 yard, holy grass in a frame, that's huge. I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually. Ceiling? Is there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. Might known, but I decided not to go through with it in the end. What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? Really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies. But... you didn't ask, right? You have only yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? Mirror was delivered to Trebian the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. It just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Trebian, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. Ah! If you want to doubt someone, try to look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror. Wait, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. Normally? How does normality come into this? That's lame, Trite. Even for you. Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, Trite? Ack! Not the hair. I do not have a top knot. Mr. Godot is correct. Lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Bien, logic has won the day. Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse? Oui. Hey, Nick, should we take a sec and think about what old CD said in his testimony? How did he phrase it again? Boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. Then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. He saw everything he described reflected in a mirror, and everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right, huh? That clears up all the problems with his testimony, I guess. Does it? Ha! It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but... do you think old CD saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. That just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's got to be something in that old man's testimony. We've just got to dig deeper. Coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a sec, shall we? Boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. So to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement. You see, monsieur, now that you think about it, it's not so hard, no? Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror. Why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order, order! Mr. Wright is correct. The witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror. Then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye. How bitter. Trite, you should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? Remember this, I presume? The I broke the vase sorry apology letter? I mean Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. The old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. More of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. What's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg? Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point, the old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's H&B made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear, do you hear? His left ear! Ah, well, Trite? The worst but best impression of Kudo ever. Well, I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. Godot's good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you just found is a rash. Mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. Oui, I can explain. Please, if you'll look at the plans of the restaurant. Hello. Is everyone sitting comfortably? The mirror, it was in the middle of a restaurant, dividing the two halves. There's only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. That was the seat at the table next to the victim's. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. See no problems with the explanations we had just heard. From the table next to the victim, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men that exist. Don't worry about it. We can keep up except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. Arrgh, I hate that guy. Said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please. There we go. Okay. So, run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? We? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way. It's talking, Trite. Huh? You're obstructing my view, among other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom. Trebien's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Trite. Tell you, monsieur, the mirror was there in the middle of the restaurant. Where would that be? Ooh la la, look up. Look how you lean towards me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too, you know, and some. Shall I tease you too? Ugh. I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. Bet she has mocha cream skin and a cappuccino perfume. Bien, I will tell you, there was only one seat from which you could have seen.
Francesca. You hear me?
Francesca?
Yeah.
You like her now?
No, I said it's probably Francesca.
Oh, probably. Or Francisca?
Francisca? Whatever it is.
So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? My monsieur, it is obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. If you're sitting at the table next to him, you would have seen everything, no? So that's the old seat Seedy was sitting in on that day when the poisoning happened. Old man was sitting at the table next to the victim? Why does it seem kind of odd? After the... Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police? Oui, exactement. I carried it out to the restaurant in Zin. Moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? What can I say? I know how to pick things up, handsome. Godot actually laughed at something. Given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, no? Are you sure about that? I touched nothing except the mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene? Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Ha! Suffering from a case of heartburn, Trite? I just a thing for that. An oil with garden mirror and frankincense. Add a few drops of your coffee and voila, enjoy. Focus, Phoenix, breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence. It is pretty strange, though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old Seedy. The only logical explanation is there was no mirror inside Trey Bien that day. And I just gotta prove it, somehow. Going up? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go put you. Be right back. one to get into.
Well, bed.
Okay. Ow.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just said ow. Alright.
The world. Or was not even important. New message.
I think this is the one. Piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. Oh, yeah. Vase. He was sitting at this table, he knocked a vase over.
Oh, yeah?
What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Ha, sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite. Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. Was this something in that photo that should not exist? I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture. The vase? What possible connection does that have with this witness's testimony? Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence.
Good thing he broke the vase. Excellent.
That one.
Oh,
No.
Oh, it's one of the pictures? Or is it the card?
Oh, it's his testimony.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was blanking. There's one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Trabian that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu! Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. Fortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Arrgh. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? Right, there was no mirror in the restaurant that day. By this revelation, we returned back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he couldn't hear? My whole thing is, bitch, you just lied in court. That's bad.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Or it was put back in his ear afterward.
You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. The victim was a phony. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Order in the court. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trite, are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup?
Yep.
Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was serving girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. That's a serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but there was one, and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. Show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but it's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Ooh la la, this is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Trade BN that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. Defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in details the events in the restaurant that day. Ooh wee. The victim, Monsieur Elg, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Monsieur Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for a phony to do lie acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I want this mess to be cleared up quickly. What you've just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I'll decide how to punish you later. For now, we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright, if you please. You took that perjury charge a bit too well. I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Ooh, not there, not there.
Right there?
Yeah. Oh, towards the middle. Okay. Sorry, when you were going up top, that was the burnt spot. Is he alone at his table as well? Mais oui, I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table. Ha! Unfortunately for you, Trite. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? Not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, it comes often from my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're most welcome anytime. I said it was worth one sip and nothing more. Old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival more in detail. So you're saying not much time elapsed between when the victim and Mr. Kudo arrived? Oui, that is correct. That still leaves the possibility that something happened in that gap of time. By your recollection, how much time would you say elapsed? Let me see. Approximately 2 minutes, I would say. 2 minutes? That's all? Seems unlikely that anything untoward could have happened in such a short time. Rats, I knew I shouldn't have pursued this line of questioning. No, your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim? How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Trey? You'd never catch me drinking the same blend twice. Huh? I'm trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant, but you're wasting your time. You can't grind birdseed to make coffee if you catch my drift. There's a hole in this testimony somewhere, I'm sure of it. You see him? No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, "Yes, $500,000! Presumably the defendant heard that too then, correct? Maggie? She looked like a poor little frightened dove. What about Mr. Kudo? The old man choked on some bird seeds that got stuck in his throat. Seems we now have yet another incident on our hands. What were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill. I'm a multi-talented woman, monsieur. Sorry, what do you mean? There is the renowned chef Jane Armstrong and the tragic poet Clarice Armstrong. Clarice? Oui, I was writing a poem, an angry tale of a chef in $500,000 debt, cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It is called Pourquoi, means why. Perhaps I could recite it for la court? Please don't. He contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred. I asked the old man to call from the payphone. My own argument, Trey. The purpose of this phony victim's performance was so the old man could see it. In other words, once the incident occurred, this opportunity would completely disappear. Indeed. Bien. Seems the shadow of doubt has been lifted, n'est-ce pas? Guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh? Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Elg, and I refuse to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time, after all. But if you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too? She fell unconscious when the incident occurred, remember? Ah, you mean that's when the phony stages act? We'll know for sure once I find a hole in his testimony. That's it. Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. Crime was reported at 2:25 by a kind of scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 and 2:10, no? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? Time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oui, monsieur judge, everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? Ha ha ha. But at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself.
Oh boy. Hi, Chrissy!
Hey, Chrissy!
How are you?
Are you absolutely sure about the time? I think really odd. I'm sure it was just after 2. Oui. When it is le temps, I stop serving la lunch menu. Quite right. I always break for lunch when the restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up a case early just to make it. On time. Haha. Guess you should never get between a hungry judge and his lunch. Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime already.
I'm sorry.
Witness, get on with your testimony, please.
We're good. We're tired.
I'm doing alright. Sunburned, because I'm an idiot.
We got a new swing for the backyard yesterday, and he sat outside and put it together, and he got sunburned.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. Of course, now it's snowing.
Yeah, now it's snowing.
Oh, yeah.
Kinda love the weather. Yeah, we went and saw a movie. earlier.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Actually, you got free movies out of it, too, because they screwed up.
Yeah.
Witness, get on with your testimony, please. There were no other customers. Wait. Okay. Wait. Hold on. $130.
Oh, yeah.
Time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Oui, that must be la show Monsieur Elg was listening to. Can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. Say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oui, I'm sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, right, if you have one. The show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30? Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. None! The victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with an ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over, there is only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. His victim was an imposter acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glenn Elgs in Trabian that day. The real Glenn Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. The phony Glenn Elg acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. Certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain this time discrepancy? Quite a performance, Trite. You were almost on a roll. Sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. Phony Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain, then, where the real Glenn Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time, the real Glenn Elg was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion. Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glenn Elg, and where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Yarg!
Chrissy, you still coming Saturday?
Prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. Your theory is to stand up to examination by the court. You must provide us with proof answering the prosecution questions. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden?
Went and saw the Dungeons and Dragons movie today.
That was good.
It was actually pretty good.
Thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. Elg concealed? Oh yeah?
It was good.
It's, what is it, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves.
Yeah.
Pretty solid, the Dungeons and Dragons by itself. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Trabian. Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. Exact location where the body was concealed was...
It had to have been in the kitchen.
Yeah. Body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location?
Oh, yeah. How's
Mr.
the
Armstrong.
car? You get it fixed? Yeah, I probably wouldn't be either.
Were you running it, or were they running it? Oh.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, hopefully you get fixed and it runs well. And
Yeah. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? Fair enough. And it's not exactly for everybody. You have to have you have to get into it. You have to have the right person running it too. Sometimes groups work, sometimes they don't. Anyways, no. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me. Where's that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen at Très Bien. Eh? Quoi? Oh, yeah, that does not help.
Yeah.
That absolutely does not help.
nope.
But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. This bottle doesn't contain an aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. Kind of medication. I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elg visited otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day.
That's a word.
You can't be serious. Imagine if you were a doctor of otolaryngological. Crap.
Yeah, I don't know.
What are you a doctor of? I'm not going to say it. It's too long of a word. It's an ear doctor. Spence had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. Contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Boar! When Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen. At which time, this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu! Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you're setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. None!
You see a little Wilson back there, Chrissy? On the other camera? She's...
Order. This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elg? Never! I could not do such an horrible thing. No! Mr. Godot. The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my
Jake's
rules.
in here too, but
He's off in the chair.
he's laying on his couch in the other room.
You have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I'd like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I'd like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me. Por favor. Hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. Just say, I thought that was Spanish. I'm only gonna ask you once. Did you do it? None! Absolutely none! Let's hear it. Got one shot, right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel. Oui, it is clear. What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. None? I can't help it. It's the way the guy talks.
Yeah.
I'm giving him a horrible French accent.
He probably does have a horrible French accent.
Especially when he switched to Spanish. Por favor!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
A confession. It is true, I ate the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. Oh, okay. No. No. But I did not. Well, actually, I'm gonna keep saying that because it makes sense for him. But I did not kill him. I swear. You must believe me. It's been a long time since I took French. You were forced? By who? I cannot say, or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. Mr. Elk died. Was he really the only person at his table? There was another man. Do it! Maggie was telling the truth. I'm gonna cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to know. Gotta break this guy, get him to tell us the name of the real killer. I thought she was squeaking. Or is that him?
If it's him.
Yep, he's having puppy dreams.
Oh. You hear Jake having puppy dreams from the other room.
Did you carry the body by yourself? Oui, I carried him, and I carried Maggie too. Maggie too? When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. But why did you hide the bodies? What man? Who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. Really scared. You just had to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him. But why would you go along with this man? What reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong? You know, monsieur. Yes? Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment. A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. A bit too male. Can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason. So I'll just have to prove it with evidence. So you are claiming that all you did was hide the bodies, is that correct? Oui, that's right. If we are to believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything. You must make clear the identity of the man who ordered you to do this. If I confess this much, he might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is. Suck it to him, Nick. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's see. That would be...
Oh, Chrissy, have you been seeing all the new, sneak peeks and stuff and of the new game? Nancy Drew game?
Let's end this dance of Ring Around the Rosie, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man that you've been referring to. Ah!
They think they're gonna, potentially announce, maybe, the name of the game and, the game and stuff on the anniversary. Nancy's anniversary. It's at the end of the month, the 28th, 29th, something like that.
Who is that? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, I don't know, maybe a month ago in this very courtroom?
Yes.
Man is Furio Tigre. He's the manager of a loan office called Tender Lender. There's no point trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong.
Oh yeah, and then they had another trademark on something on another one, so that I don't know, there may be even 2 games coming shortly, hopefully.
I wouldn't get your hopes up.
No, I'm just because it was the Keys one, and then they just trademarked another one.
Oh. $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. You had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you. Oui, it is as you say, Mr. Armstrong. Le Tigre, it told me it was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, it was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to. I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconscient Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen. I think we can safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. Poison in the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well? None! I know nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Godot, you'll summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. 30 minutes. What? Trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy in the stand, not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows that if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well, your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Till then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. Continue. Final part of the trial.
Can you believe we're getting snow again, Chrissy?
Fuck snow.
I'm so over it.
It's sticking outside. On the back porch. Back to it.
So over the snow.
Yes. Fuck snow. We're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick. Really? Oh. Yeah, well, I suppose we can't bitch too loudly then. But still. It was just 80 degrees the other day.
I know. I think that's why I'm more upset. It's going from 80 degrees and sunny to
29.
To snowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. Godot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. And you think Mr. Armstrong's lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. Get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe. Were you so jumpy about
To the rescue.
Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's a pot-calling kettle black, little Miss Top Knot. It's not a top knot. Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, all right? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I kind of get wound up. Arrgh! No kidding. Gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour? You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? You're going back to the station anyway. Could you find out whose prints are on this? Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. Can't remember if I may have shown her it, but...
Oh, yeah.
Here's Shorty.
I forgot about that one. Time to separate the phonies from the real guys.
Did Jake come in? Oh, yeah, he did.
We already let people out, dude. Go to your bed. Bed.
I think it's close to Bones time.
No, it is Bones time. I'll lay here because she's in mine.
Yeah. Yeah, Willow keeps taking Jake's bed.
So he's gonna sit there and either lay down or growl at her. And she's gonna ignore him because she's sleeping.
Yep.
Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Furio Tigre? Oh yeah. I even tamed him for you. The 3-cup job, no problem. Tamed him? The guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on. Pretty lively. Be careful, he still bites. Oh, he got sick of it. Very well, please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, please state your name. Garr! Ah! Yep, she's under the table.
Oh no!
Don't hide under the table, Maya. Unless there's room for me down there too. What do you say to me? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Honest. I'm gonna guess that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge. I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Is it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the...
All of the mess.
This is the judge. Your Honor? Oh dear. I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it. We're doomed. Maybe you just didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? No need to shout. We can all hear you. What do you say? No point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. I'm the one that hauled you in. You're... too cool. Well, I'm getting the better of your name. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, mass boy. Me didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I've got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix, right. Used the one they set this up with, didn't you? You's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Get a grip, Nick.
As she's under the table.
I know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. Got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. If you want to check my alibi, just ask Violetta. Unless I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright. You can cross-examine. Arrgh! What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Lowlife? Me? Listen up, Smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you're gonna borrow the cash from me. That's the one loan contract I refuse to sign.
Yeah, really.
Don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you take it with the tiger. But I was just like, yeah, what the fuck ever.
Oh, it's like this dude's an idiot.
I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute. That's really not... This witness is... How can I put it? A hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side and he'll bite your head, everyone's heads off. Yours too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You better be listening. I said I got business to take care of, big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. Court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. You knew it, Nick! Come out from under there already, would you, Maya? You sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know? See these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini? Writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was. Seems like a rather sketchy schedule. Grrr. There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. As important as what he was doing on the day of the murders. Now what? Press harder. Mr. Tigre, what does you want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail. This is a dead-end trait and you know it. Remember the rules. No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately. I agree! Victim was killed on December 3rd. Where were you? Were you in the office that day too? Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godot, if you could please. Mr. Tigre, the court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony. Humph. Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. Days you was talking about, I was in the office too. I never saw that kid before. Bullshit. I call bullshit. Mr. Tigre. You claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger, and the date, December 3rd. December 3rd? That's the day of the murder. So, Mr. Tigre, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elg. Because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad, you's actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with yous to see how good you were. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. It's one compliment I can do without, plus he's lying through his teeth.
Yep.
Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. He's calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing? Ruh-roh. So you're saying that your claim to have never seen the kid before is the truth? Instead, I'm dead serious. You'd better believe that's the truth. Ha. And I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is,
Coffee,
while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigre. Oh yes, would you mind indulging the court witness? Never actually met the victim. That's got to be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. I ain't no liar. I never met Glenn Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though, wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, Tender Lender. Waited around for him, but he ain't never showed. I ain't never ever been... Nick, I ain't even been to that Trebien joint, you's here? God, that was hard to say for some reason. I see. That all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Didn't I tell you, I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you, right? Oh, I got you, you son of a bitch. There it is. Matches to be found in his office. Mr. Tigre, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What you talking about? Found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant. What? You've really never been to Trebien before. What was the book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around my stuff now too, wise guy? Why you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. Kind of fun talking like him. Order, order. Well, witness? Think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Yarg! Sorry, I'm terribly sorry, forgive me. Ain't no pussycat, I don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Well, well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. This close to proving it was him. He did meet Glenn Elg that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop siren on my way out, so I went straight back to my office. So I see you didn't actually meet with him in the end, then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. Hold it! If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions. Ha! No problem. Anytime Tripe presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godot, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so yous know since yous paying. Oh, man. Doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? Walked in the door and it was an ugly scene. He couldn't have seen shit.
Nope.
Uyaka. Something of a loan-collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie-detecting pro. And no one escapes the phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, Trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning? These are the floor plans of this crime scene. Say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre. There, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this. Indeed, the witness would have a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Fortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would like to think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true. Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance of Très Bien, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him. Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defense just proved that point to be moot. Victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glenn Elg, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as a victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? Say the killer murdered Glenn Elg, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo? In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness? Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand, so I dare to say it again. Come on, you got the guts? You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright! Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You've got guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone. Ha! Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Godot. Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. Old man didn't see just the victim. Oh, no. Serving girl brought him a Javachino. She put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. That was the victim he saw. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. Fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee. Yes, it was the waitress who served the coffee. Very impressive, Mr. Godot. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Ha! Found your pen at last, Trey? It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenn Elg, and the waitress, from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright? I think the conclusion is obvious. This Glenn Elg was really the killer in disguise. Surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. What on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tender Lender. She's making a big mistake. Do you know who Violetta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, had stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true that there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy. She had kind of a cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. Second man at the victim's table who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, once for real and once for show. And Mr. Fury Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you. Witness, what have you got to say? That's cute. Sorry? You's alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give yous one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? It's got it all wrapped up nice, alright? Yous missed out one real important thing. That can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you hear? What? You really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? Ha! What a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. Oh my god, this guy is drinking coffee. One more steaming cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I'll give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Trey BM between yourself and the victim? Yeah, I loaned out cash, about the $100,000. That day we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? Anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. About to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won! $500,000! Got lucky, you know? Real lucky. That waitress hadn't done what she'd done, everything would have been over. Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was $50,000. Yeah, well, you's got the VIG to take in the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know. That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal, but loan sharks are evil. The repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. Got that $500,000 just in time. I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. Motive? Well, he has to have one, but what is it? Let's see. Waitress, you mean? Girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are you all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 bucks back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It's all coming together before that waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, Other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you'll amend your testimony to reflect what you just said. Tiger's motive, huh?
He could steal the winning lottery ticket.
No, he wasn't after that. This is what he was after, which he got.
Oh.
So you just intended to get back the $100,000 from Mr. Elg owed you, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Fortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after. Where are you getting at, Trey? What else would a moneylender be after other than money? Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. What is that? A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber. Computer virus? What does one of those do? Computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. Computer? What does one of those do?
I
guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market. Several $1 million? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elg had no way to repay the money is crucial. What? Glenn Elg was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was a collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money. You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get hold of that program? Exactly. Witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, right? A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided that he had time. What if he had needed the money right then? Pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear. Seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigre need money to the tune of $1 million? December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. Surgery. How much of this do you know? Medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. Yet, when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full. $1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue those HMOs. Ha! No one would pay a bill like that. Medical Association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. Mr. Tigre had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. Guard! Order! 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 You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright? Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. You say Cadaverini? Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Wah! Life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? Makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Bruto Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glenn Elg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on the CD. Glenn Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. Kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I. The lottery win? Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. Murdered Glenn Elg and then made his next move, to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Tigre posed as Glen Elg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. Then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. Witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo. Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it. But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godot? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too, $500,000 in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan. Order, order! Silence, or I will clear the courtroom! You've put on a good show, Spiky. If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do? Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out. What? Another one, Mr. Wright? Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was this trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused? Posed as me, motherfucker. What on earth is that? What an insult to anyone to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation. You did!
You were.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago in this very court, you posed as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here this very court a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I had ever seen. Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Hey, forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? You know pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court we deal with people's lives. Mr. Godot is right. Your Honor, speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it. No! The defense has no further evidence. The court will now excuse a witness. Circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive. But we've come so far. You say he impersonated Glenn Ello. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Arrgh!
For it. Wait for it.
Ha! Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger or you're gonna get mauled. You got that? All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Ha! Looks like I won't be needing a refill. I just had one more piece of evidence. One more piece of evidence, and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook. This witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre.
Hold it.
Ha! Gumshoe! Your Honor, sir. Wait! Detective Gumshoe. Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this, too. What is it, Detective? Is it obvious, pal? It's the final decisive piece of evidence. What? What? Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab. The results? About the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle. Oh, so you know who the prints belong to now? Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know. So, tell us, they're the tigers, right? I knew it. You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio Tigre's paw prints, alright. That's great, we've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? We've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry, but this is kind of hard to say. But it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenn Elk's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on the bottle really doesn't make any difference now. Oh, I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. This is our last chance to help Maggie, and I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie, you've been working on something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait! He's gone. Is there anything we can do now, Nick? Wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it.
How could he not use it if it has, like, it doesn't make any sense?
Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? I'll grant you a recess so you can prepare this decisive evidence you've discovered. Yes. Don't keep us all in suspense, Trite. Show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time are you's gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before, but yous lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here, but maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Let this final decisive piece of evidence to the court. This is the defense's final piece of evidence. Isn't that the victims? Your Honor, naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What? Well, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains. Except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. Tigre.
Oh.
My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle? Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell's in it, anyway? Phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains potassium cyanide. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? Poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honor. Victim's killer used this very bottle. Not on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you know that? What? Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. Yous just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix, right? That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown and it was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it.
Gotcha. Got him.
Ah, got him.
Got him.
Got him at last. What? Why is everyone going quiet? I said that bottle... Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But yous ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy-looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. Still haven't figured it out? Don't you realize what you've just said? What I said? What did I just say? You're summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You don't know who you's messing with. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped-up suit get the better of me? Sure. Last piece of evidence was phony. That's just what you needed. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. Explosion! Michael Bay!
Explosions.
What's going on? Looks like a blackout. Well done, Trite.
Tiger's gone.
I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it. No, he's still here.
Oh.
While you watch the police restrain your prey. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Now then, how are things going with Mr. T-Grade, Mr. Godot? He's being arrested on the suspicion of murder of Glen Elg, Your Honor. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake. Indeed. Very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Friero Tigre is a truly frightening criminal. Ha! The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. Godot. Well, I'm now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty! Yay! Ooh, that was a roller coaster. That is all. This court is adjourned. Whew. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago. Now I feel like I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick, in the doorway. Detective Gumshoe.
Gumshoe.
Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around, pal. Wait! Detective Gumshoe. Oh yeah. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony, then? Huh? Oh, well, well, guess I'll be seeing you around.
Oh, yeah.
Wait up, detective. He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. Thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even of any use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick? Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie? You know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all this. Wanted to believe that, sir. But on that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. Didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it. Gotta prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. Here you are. Present to celebrate your freedom. That's... Present from Detective Gumshoe made with a ton of love. Said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe. I actually really like weenies, you know. Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know. Yeah, trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if we eat if I eat this now? Aw. So, how was it? How's it, Maggie? It's really good. The case of the false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who... Thanks, game. And who knows, maybe we'll do something. Yay, completed.
Yay.
Ugh. Edgy!
Oh, Edgy's back! I like Edgy.
Dave. Now we gotta wait until I get to a point where I can quit. Is this Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Come on. Ooh, we get to play as her.
Oh.
Wait, isn't it the second time we do this?
Hey, didn't we play as her? He was...
Alright, back to the title screen.
When she was, like, underneath the one guy.
think.
Yeah, that was the first one of this.
Right?
Yeah.
Because here. Yeah, Turnabout Memories, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it was when we were defending Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Alright, we are going to call it a night.
Have a good night, everybody.
You all have a good one. We got our work in the morning, unfortunately. Already looks like a mess for me. And probably going to be a mess for you, too. So, anyway, you all have a good night.
Have a good night.
And we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.